Ryan, go ahead and grab a sheet and a die as you come in. This is Matthew 81. I'm Brother Cox. Hopefully neither of those come as a shock. If they do, well, keep your head between your knees.
Then you're probably supposed to be intrigued.
Yeah, if you're in Trig, you should be in room 261 now. So we probably have one or two 281 people who are wondering, wow, this is going to be an easy semester. So.
Yeah, I left when my only introduced himself. Give away.
Yeah, I'm here in trigonometry. So, yes. You've forgotten what this math class is called now. We changed the name twice to protect the innocent. What is it now? Intro to Applied Math? Okay. So, it doesn't really matter what we call it. It's the same anyway. But this gives you a little indication of the kinds of things that we'll be looking at. Applied mathematics is all about applying mathematics to real-world situations. So we'll be looking at the bison herd in Yellowstone, possibly literally. Hopefully we will get to go on a field trip on October the 6th. So you'll want to pull out your calendars, where we'll go up through Island Park and through Yellowstone and take a look at some different ways that mathematics is used to model natural resources. And one of those is the bison herd up in Yellowstone. That, if all goes through, and there's a couple of things that are still pending on funding for that, it's an all-day experience. We leave at 7 in the morning and we get home at 9 at night. And last year we brought two people together who are now married. And so, multiple advantages to this particular field trip. Anyway. So, we'll believe that today we're actually going to be looking at motion under gravity. You're going to be doing some experiments. That's why the carts and the tracks and everything are all out to take a look at that. If we're able to get into the park, we'll go to the lower falls, and right there, right on top of the falls, you can actually hike down to where you're sitting right on top of the waterfall there. And so we'll go down, take some measurements there. Another one we'll be looking at is epidemiology, diseases, and how they're spread. And that is a cold virus right there. So those are just some of the things we'll be taking a look at, different applications of mathematics that we'll be playing around with. This is a fun class, because basically we just play all semester. Pick up a new application, we go play with it for a while, and then we come back and try a different one. We will be looking at 4 different branches of mathematics. Guess we'll put it in green. Is that a friendly color? First one we're going to be looking at are what are known as discrete dynamical systems. So we'll be spending a few weeks taking a look at those. Then we will move on and take a look at graph theory. We're not talking about graphing a parabola here or anything like that. We're talking about the internet. The internet is what in mathematics we call a graph. And in analyzing the internet, you learn graph theory. Then we'll go look at game theory, where we will literally just play. And then last but not least, we'll be taking a look at simulation. We're actually going to do a simulation today, a little mini simulation, which is where you get computers to mimic real life, but there's a great deal of mathematics that goes into trying to get a computer to get you a realistic representation of what goes on in the real world. So those are the 4 we're looking at. As you have hopefully already noticed, there is no textbook for this class, because there is no textbook that has those in there. You would be buying 4 textbooks and covering 2 chapters out of each, which is not very reasonable. So for discrete dynamical systems, your textbook is actually free and online. So if you go out to Brain Honey, and so that's our course website on Brain Honey. And if you go down to the discrete dynamical systems text, it will pull up this link here. And this is, as you can see, calculus for the life sciences. But if you take a look at the table of contents, first chapter is on mathematical models, and then we're going to skip down, because we assume you know the calculus, to chapter 11, which is where we start getting into dynamical systems, first order differential equations, discrete dynamical systems, and so on. So your textbook that we'll be using is that one. It's online. That's where your homework and reading and so forth will come out of there, and it's just on Brain Honey. So, I will be getting you a syllabus later, but you're going to participate in the process of creating that to some extent. There's some things we just have to do, but other things are open. And so one of your assignments for next time is to be thinking about how can I motivate you to really learn the mathematical concepts that we're going to take a look at, so that you're not just trying to cram or whatever to try and get a grade out of the class, but rather you're really interested in learning what it is we're talking about and figuring things out. So if you've had a class that's worked like that in the past, ideas that you get from that class, but how can I help you actually learn this stuff, rather than just kind of go through the motions, and at the end of the semester it's like, well, okay, I got a B in that class and I have no idea what we talked about. Any questions just right as we start? It's early in the morning, huh? Obviously we're going to have to do some sort of calisthenics or something periodically during the course.
What about like tests?
That is negotiable. The subject matter is not negotiable. That's determined by the department. We have to make our way through this material. And one way or another, I have to assess whether or not you've learned it. Because I do have to give you a grade, and the grade needs to reflect how well you've learned the mathematics. How we make that connection, completely up to us. So that's part of what we'll talk about next time in terms of just setting up the syllabus, is what kind of grading practices work for you in terms of the grade motivates you to learn rather than the grade motivating you to not learn, and instead just try and sort of play the system. Other questions? All right. Well, as you have them, ask them. Next, this is just to let you know that I do have a life other than teaching math. So when I'm not with you, doing math and teaching math, here are some of the things I do. That's my wife and my oldest daughter, who's leaving on a mission in a month.
Oh, where's she going?
Argentina, Buenos Aires South. So she is very excited and now starting to get a little nervous. So she's headed out, but that's them. In the background is Honolulu. So that was a trip we took to Hawaii when I was doing they invited me over to do a department review of the math department at BYU Hawaii, and so we took some of the family with us. These are my four sons. That's Zach, who's here at BYU Idaho, Bokri, who just turned 14, Kemuel, who just turned 12, and Malachi, who's 6. That's my wife and I at the Great Wall of China. My brother lives in Beijing, so I went to a math conference over there. We visited my brother and also hiked the Great Wall for a bit. That's Zach discussing things with Abraham Lincoln. That's at Gettysburg. That's the Gettysburg Visitor Center right back there. Zach's way into the Civil War, and so he took us around and was our guide through all of the battlefields. That's us in Zion's Narrows, hiking up Zion's Narrows. That's my daughter Kumba, who's a sophomore in high school, and Malachi's soccer team that I help coach. So anyway, I just remember sometimes I'd see my teacher in the grocery store or something like that. I don't know why, but I think, you eat. So I do have a few other things that I do other than math. All right.